Help them figure what they want out of life. But you know everything it come with a price. Wanna maximize your money and time. Might have to take the uncommon advice.
So let's get into some current trends. We've already talked about the Heat. We don't need to go back there. They did, unfortunately, they did take the L. So Jason Tatum served up an L. He's been eating a lot of L's with the
about time, right?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it pans out. I think the Heat are end up going to take it all, or take the East, because it's tough to come back from 3-0. But
yeah, only LeBron. They're the only guy. That squad is the only team that's done it, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
they're down 3-1.
Oh yeah,
no one's done it 3-0.
Oh yeah, they did win that second game.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to jump into daily routines. Right, so I get asked a lot about daily routines on what I do, and I know daily routines are important for, we've been talking about sports, they're important there, they're important in life, they're important in business, and people seem to be really interested in that process. I want to break down some of that daily routine stuff. You're going to have a different take on it than I do, and I want to dive in a little bit of that. So what's your thoughts on daily routines?
I think as I got older, I realized the importance of it, because I kind of, immaturely, like thrived in chaos. You know, like back to Kobe, I back in college, I used to feel like I wrote my best papers when I had 5 hours left, when it needed to be 10 pages or less. And so I was kind of thriving in that area. I would use it as an excuse to kind of just like throw things off and procrastinate. But I learned that routine, one, it makes your life easier, right? Kind of setting things on a schedule, it makes it easier to add or implement outside things to see what you actually can do, and it gives your brain a little bit of rest. But there was a guy, I won't call him a guy, one of my close friends, Mike Chambers, we called him Mike Butcher. He was the rapper, right? So he used to, when he saw me struggling in college, he used to be like, hey, I write down a to-do list, and I leave it on my desk, and I don't go to bed until I check it off. And I started doing that. I wasn't disciplined with it at all, but it was like I got to that point where when I got good at it, I developed a guilt. It's a good guilt where it's like, I'm slacking. I didn't check everything off, you know. And I feel like a daily routine or something like that will help you evolve and get to the next step, you know. Because I think me and you had a off-air conversation about and I'll let you phrase it. I don't want to steal your bars, but where you said something along the lines of discipline trumps motivation every time, right?
Yeah.
And I'll let you dive further into that.
Yeah, we all get motivated, right? And we get moments of motivation, but motivation can come and go. Motivation is something like when it's on, you feel great because you're cranking and you're getting a lot done. And discipline always trumps that, because discipline is you developing the habit of doing it over and over, whether you're motivated or not. Like right now, I've been hyper motivated to be outside and go for a 40, 50-minute walk every morning, walk a couple miles before. I apparently walk slow, only do a couple miles that time, but and I'm walking in the morning before I come home and head out and take Caden to school and come here, and I've been very motivated to do it. But today I wasn't motivated to do it, but I made myself do it because I'm trying to develop that habit back up, because I've gone through spurts where I've done it here and there, but it is a discipline, and it's part of my day, and I'm making it part of my daily routine to go on, just get out. And for me, it's, I call it, I talked a little bit last week, I believe, but walking and thinking. You know, I'm getting out, I'm getting my mind clear, I'm thinking about what's going to happen for the day, I'm processing things that frustrated me and getting peace with them, then, you know, in the morning before the next day starts, so I don't carry it into the coming day. And I'm also thinking and getting creative about things going on, but that time in itself is super valuable to me, but I have to develop the discipline to do it every day, because at the same time, it is getting up and doing it. It's getting up earlier to go out and do it before the day starts. And yeah, I had the motivation to get started with it, but if I don't develop the discipline to keep it going day in and day out, it doesn't matter how motivated I am.
Yeah, think about, like, I can speak for myself, but I think if we took a poll, the number would be pretty high. How many people will start going to the gym? Day 3, you know, the usual Instagram post, dues paid type of thing, and then day 6, you don't see a post. Day 7, you don't see a post. Day 8, you don't see a post. that consistency, right? So I think two words we can kind of throw off the wall right now is discipline and consistency. Like they go hand in hand. And I can speak for a situation with myself. Like we make jokes about like the drip and looking good and things like that. I've had a couple clothing brands or had my hands in a couple. I had one that was just a hat brand, and I came out the gates swinging. Had rappers, athletes, influencers, all types of people wearing my hats, right? And was I disciplined with the process of how I got there? Heck no. Ask me if that hat brand is still around to this day. It's definitely not, right? I had another clothing brand that I started, successful. Was I disciplined? No. I currently have one that's thriving right now. It's one of my pieces right here, and as well as I actually forgot I had this one. This is an older piece, but I'm still not the best at it, being transparent, but I always go back to, I guess, quote unquote, my failures in that space because I wasn't disciplined. All right, so I think that's something that I have to hold myself accountable for. And I think that's something that people, period, in order to start setting daily routines, goes back to accountability. If we can't hold ourselves accountable, how do we expect to make those changes and make progress in what we're trying to do? You know, what are some outside of your morning walks? What are some things that you would throw in your daily routine?
Oh, daily routine. So the way my day starts out, man, when I get up, I do that walk, I come back, and then I drink water. No. So actually, the first thing I do when I get up is I drink 16 to 32 ounces of water. And for me, it's like I try to drink a gallon of water every day, like one thing I try to drink every day. And some say it's not enough, some say it's too much. I don't know. But for me, if I used to only get like one glass of water in a day.
Yeah.
So for me, a gallon of water is a big important piece for me every day. Taking time to learn something new every day is important to me. And the walk is important to me, but the walk is just a start. I also try and get a workout in every day as well. And outside of that, and those are important pieces to me. So whether the learning, whether it be reading, whether it be listening to a podcast, whether it be writing out, just taking time to write things out, like all these are little things I do throughout a day, right? Okay. So, and outside of that, I'm also very routine driven in regards to, I like to come to the office. I like to get here at between 8:30. I like to leave at 5:30, like I like my daily routine. People always say, they want to quit their day job and get out of the 9 to 5. I'm like, I like it because it allows me to structure my days to be able to still have time and quality time with my family and all that other stuff. Right. So that's outside of the work environment. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm another, simplicity thing. I go to bed early. That's another thing on routines, right?
I'm still working on that.
So, and that's actually one thing that reminds me of one thing I wanted to talk about is a lot of times when people have routines, they think they have to, you see a lot of people online talk about, well, I get up at 4 a.m., I get up at 5 a.m., and it doesn't really matter, like whether you get up 5, 6, 7, whether you go to bed at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever it is, the key is the consistency that you're doing it and getting the things done that you need to get done. But for me, I like to go to bed by 10. And I like to go to bed by 10. I like to be up by 5:30, 6 at the latest. And that's my part of my routine. Get up, drink water, go for a walk, and then get my day started. So I think what happens is a lot of times people think they have to do that. You don't have to get up at 5:30. You don't have to get up at 4:30 because somebody's, posting online about how hard they are for getting up at 4:30 in the morning, but that's cool. What time did you go to bed? 8? Yeah. Congrats. Yeah. You're still getting your sleep. So, whereas me, I go to bed around 10, I get up at 5:36. It's really being consistent with what you're doing with that time on that routine at the end of the day is what I'm saying.
It's like I'm a big Twitter guy. I remember that era of, it was like 2012-ish when the world was going hashtag crazy, and everything was like team no sleep. Mm-hmm. It's like, sleep is dope, yeah, you hear stories about some of the greatest people in the world, quote unquote. They start the day at 4 a.m., like you said. What time do they go to bed, But I think it all goes back to your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. If you did what you need to do that day to take a step forward in whatever direction that you're working towards, who cares how many hours Joe Smoke got over there. Do what works for you. You know, I think going back to your daily routine, my routine is not the same as yours. Like, your sleep at 10. I wish I could go to sleep at 10, right? But I'm still doing the things I need to do to be able to get my goals that I have set attacked. And you as well. We're just going about it in different ways. But as long as the steps are forward as opposed to lateral or backwards, I think we're in a good spot. You know, so I think a little tangent, but doing what works for you is a underrated skill. I think a lot of people look to mimic someone else's pattern, which is also good in certain cases if you want to get where someone is based on what they're doing. But step by step may not work for you. So finding out what you're good at and what works for you is also something that we need to pay a little bit more attention to as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's funny because you always hear this hustling 24/7, grinding all day. I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm more like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 265 days a year, So it's
Absolutely.
I think you got to enjoy life too. And you get that hustle, that grind. It makes people puff out their chest and feel good about themselves. But that's also the first thing that leads to burnout, right? So life's meant to be enjoyed. And life's, and that's why I'm a big proponent on build the lifestyle you want, and then make sure the business and the things that you do are supporting that, because otherwise you just get burnt out. So
yeah, I think even back to daily routines, I think some people look at it as like superstition, some people look at it as routine, but I do like to find out and follow what people's routines are like. Jay-Z is probably he's number one. He's one of those guys you just don't mention. You say, who's your favorite? He's up there no matter what, right? But when he's in album mode, I know he has long locks right now, but when he was in album mode, he would grow his hair out, right? It was like the task is not done, so I'm just going to keep growing it. And once it's done, I can cut it. And I'll show you guys the good waves again, And I kind of try, again, back to doing what works for you. I tried to adopt that, and what did it do for me? It worked for me. It worked well for me mentally, but I didn't have the same type of hair as Jay-Z, so maybe my hair would look a little bit different. I'm walking past the mirror when I wake up like, holy crap, I got to get this done. But maybe that's how he felt as well. Or Jason Terry, a former basketball player, he used to sleep in his opponent's shorts, not their literal shorts, but say we're playing Utah Jazz. He may have a pair of Utah Jazz attire to wear the night before. It's weird, but in my opinion, it worked for him. So that's another just a routine pregame type of thing. But I think it'd be funny when you start finding out the things that certain people you may even look up to, or somebody that may be next to you at work that they do every day. Yeah. Everybody's different in their own little quirky way.
We could probably do a whole episode on superstitious routines.
I had some.
Yeah, me too.
Well, give me one of yours. I'll give you one.
I think one of mine was just the one thing I had, and I had the exact same shirt I wore for like 2 years in football.
I had one too.
Yeah.
I had a Batman shirt, Batman cut off, and I wrote something there. But I kind of got that from my brother. But something I had on my own, as you know, I call it my pre-workout, but I always keep too many airheads around. And I started doing that back in high school when I wrestled. A close friend of mine at the time, his name was Jarrell Garrett. He was one of the best wrestlers in the state of New Jersey. And when I warm up for my matches, I would get too hype. I was a big Dipset guy. I'm listening to, Jim Jones go crazy, J.R. Wright, these guys, and I'm like overly hyped, and I get out on the mat and I burn out the first 40 seconds. And I'd be watching Jarrell lay on the mat on his stomach, on his back, super calm. And I'm like, yo, what are you listening to? Luther Vandross. I'm like, what? So that was part of his daily, his pregame type of thing that he always did, because he was always calm. Right, so if you look around this big gym full of wrestlers, everybody's hyped doing their thing, and he's just calm. Even kill, and it worked for him. He was very successful on the mat. But mine, before I tried to do that, it was, hey, I got to listen to some Dipset, a little bit of Lil Wayne, some DMX, 2 Airheads, and I'm good, But I felt, and I had to have some crazy socks on. I just felt like, quote unquote, I felt naked if those things were not checked off, If I know Airheads, I didn't want to go out on the mat.
All right, yeah, I think what was the other one I had? My song before the cross games in high school was "Bout It, Bout It" by Master P. Now that I think about it, it's hilarious of all songs. But yeah, man. So I think that wraps up uncommon advice. I think it's so big. Key takeaway for you all here is one. I want to thank you for jumping in for Zenon here and joining me. It's been fun. And then two, it's discipline trumps motivation. And if you know anyone with a nonprofit, don't forget to tell them about Google Ad Grants and help them fulfill the mission that they're on going forward.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure being here. Maybe I'll be on camera one more time sometime soon. We'll see, Z, we miss you.
Listen to this, might have to take the uncommon advice.